Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us. This webinar is about SFT-21. My name's Kath McIntyre. I'm with the Australian Telehealth Society and I'm joined with Anthony Smith from the Centre for Online Health and Kim Ford, who is the President of the Australian Telehealth Society. So welcome to you both and thank you for joining me. Anthony, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, certainly, Kath. I won't say too much, but I'm based in Brisbane at the University of Queensland. I'm the director of the Centre for Online Health, and I've been involved in SFT since, I guess, day one, with our first SFT in 2001. So the conference itself has been running for over 20 years. So I'm a professor in telehealth. I have a clinical background as a nurse, but I've got about 20 years experience in telehealth research. And I'm the scientific program director of SFT and one of the lead coordinators of the conference.
So you're a very busy man. Kim, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thanks, Kath. I'm the program manager for telehealth in Tasmania for the Department of Health and have been for 5 years. I first went to SFT in Auckland in 2016 and met Anthony and the crew there and have been involved in the society since then and took on the president role last year.
Great, thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about SFT this year? What can we expect?
Look, everyone can expect a whole lot more than what they usually get. SFT is always an exciting way of getting people together to talk about the good things in telehealth, the things that work, and also the things that don't work quite well. That's why we call it successes and failures in telehealth. So some people are brave enough to get up and talk about their experiences, good and bad. It's a really good conference that brings in a mix of clinicians and researchers and managers and policy developers. And now we're starting to see a few more consumers get into the conference as well, which is excellent in terms of the overall acceptance and perception of telehealth around the country. So SFT has had to move to a virtual platform this year. That's no surprise, I guess, with COVID around the corner as well. So we've had to make the difficult decision, Kim and I, to move to a virtual platform. That said, we don't think it's going to be have a huge impact on the conference. We're telehealth experts and used to providing services at a distance. So we should be able to do that incredibly well by video, and that's what SFT will be. SFT conference will bring together a large number of presentations from all over the country. Many of our presenters are members of the Australian Telehealth Society and very good supporters of that. But we're going to be seeing a lot of information, a lot of experience being shared around, new telehealth developments, new evaluations, new challenges, people who want to kind of allude and give us a glimpse about the future of telehealth. So there's a very large variety of presentations covering a lot of different topics, and because we're going virtual, we've also made the decision to kind of provide the presentations in sequence so that we can maximize our audience numbers. We normally have about 200 delegates connected into the conference, so it's a very large representative group, and we encourage everyone to get involved in the conference by registering and being either a participant or an active speaker in the event.
Fantastic. So Kim, you told us that you first visited SFT in Auckland. Can you tell us what your thoughts were about the conference when you first went to it?
When I first went, I was very new in telehealth world and didn't know much at all. It was a fabulous opportunity to get a broad exposure to the very different models of care, the very different ways of using telehealth in all its iterations, both as virtual appointments, store and forward, and remote monitoring. Remote monitoring is very topical this year, but it was a fabulous opportunity to get exposure across a broad range of applications for telehealth and to make those connections with people. And even in the virtual sense, you can make those connections. You'll be able to have contact details to follow people up.
Great. And Anthony, what are the themes this year that the conference will be looking at?
Yeah, well, I'm really pleased that Kim mentioned remote monitoring because that certainly emerged as a very popular theme, and that's reflecting the natural growth of telehealth, so moving away from our typical descriptions of video conferencing and video consultation, we're now seeing a whole range of different, telehealth supported models of care, including virtual care models and remote patient monitoring. I guess another popular topic has been around the fact that COVID has resulted in a massive increase in telehealth. And the question is, how do we maintain that activity? How do we encourage sustainability? So many of those factors are going to be discussed by our presenters. We've also got a nice mix around mental health, allied health as well. So we've got those kind of topics covered. We've got pharmacy. What else is there? We've got palliative care. In fact, I should say that palliative care this year, I think we have 9 or 10 presentations. Now that really says something, because in the past, it really hasn't been highlighted as an area that, you know, telehealth has a high priority place, but that's certainly not the truth. And we're seeing some amazing examples of palliative care services around the country. So we've got a range of clinicians who are going to be talking about their first-hand experience in using telehealth to provide palliative care into the home. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Great. It sounds, I mean, I've been to SFT myself, and it sounds like this one's going to be really, really quite bigger than the other ones, which is great. Kim, we've had a big growth in telehealth, of course, because of what's been happening with COVID. And so, you know, we don't want that to go backwards in any way. We want to keep up the momentum. Can you comment on what you think we need to do to keep that momentum happening?
So we need to keep the conversations going. We need to keep the conversations going both at a local level with our local health providers and health services so that we can embed it at a local level, but we also need to keep the conversations going at the Commonwealth level. We all know the Medicare rebates are here till 31st of December. We'd all like to see them become a permanent item. One of the plans of the Australian Telehealth Society has after the federal election next year is to look at getting a parliamentary Friends of Telehealth group going. So, and being able to lobby at that level. So that's part of the brief of the society, is to do that lobbying at the government and state and federal level.
That's good
for telehealth.
That's good for people to know, because it is a big part of the Australian Telehealth Society, not only to be a society that helps with education and awareness around telehealth, but also that lobbying part that is needed as well. So that's really good to know.
We work up as well as down.
Yeah, great. Anthony, I know that a really popular part of the conference is the workshops, and that you brought them in probably about 2 years ago, and they've been a real success and very, very well attended. Can you tell us a little bit about the workshops for this year?
Yeah, sure, Kath, you're right. A couple of years ago, mainly due to feedback from our delegates, people were saying, oh, we'd like to hear a little bit more about X, Y, or Z. And some of these topic areas are very practical areas that warrant a little bit more than a 10-minute discussion. So we did bring in the workshops and made them available as an optional extra. I almost call it a gift with purchase, but these are limited places available for workshops. And we have 4 workshops that have been offered by 4 key presenters this year. Those workshops kind of reflect around evaluation of telehealth, particularly looking at health economics. So we've got Dr. Centane Snoswell from the University of Queensland, who will be leading one on health economics and economic evaluation in telehealth. Always a common question is, what does it cost and how much am I going to save? And I think Centane will do a brilliant job at, you know, really kind of exploring and explaining the basics. How do you actually get an economic evaluation done? So Centane has run that workshop before. It's been booked out twice. And she's coming back bravely this year to do it again. So get in early and get into that workshop. The other one is being done by George Margellis, who many of you will know from the Aged Care Industry Information Technology Council. And George is going to do one talking about aged care and can we actually get a digitally enabled aged care? You know, is it sustainable? Is it possible? So I'm looking forward to that workshop. The other one is being done to look at biostats, and that's not to scare people off. We're going to be looking back to basics about how stats can be used, and from an evaluation perspective, the importance of using that in certain types of evaluation. And then the other one has been delivered by a clinician, Dr. Michael Williams, who's going to be basically, I think, giving a very frank view and sharing a conversation around how to build a clinical telehealth service. So that's particularly important if you're new to telehealth. And I guess what I didn't say before is that this conference is really designed for everybody, whether you've been in the business or doing telehealth like Kim and I for many, many years. or you may be completely new. So everyone is welcome to be part of this. As I said before, it's a sharing experience, but this workshop will kind of be very useful for those who are quite new and wanting to know where to start. You know, what do I need to consider when I'm developing my own telehealth service? And how do I give myself the best possible chance that the service is going to be successful?
Great. All right. That's the workshops sound fantastic, and people can book them when they register for their ticket. I want to thank you both for talking with me, and we hope to see everybody at SFT-21, don't we?
We absolutely
Yeah.
look forward to it. Thank you, Kath.
Thank you.
Kim.
Thank you.